If they interact, sell, sell, sell. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rick Parma, and this is just another segment of how to be a gigging musician here on Talking Music. Today I want to get into how to push merchandise. Hell, even how to push your tip jar. Like I said, this is about being a gig musician. So chances are this is for guys and girls that are out there at restaurants, bars, clubs. You know, even if you're touring, that kind of stuff. A lot of times people program into their set, and when I say program, I just mean write it down. They just write it down of, okay, at this point I'm going to talk about my CD, and at this point I'm going to talk about where they can buy my CD or blah, 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 that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't write it down, and then they do their entire show, and based on adrenaline, they completely forget to talk about buying their music. And then some people do the opposite, where all they do is talk about their music like the whole freaking time, and then people get so annoyed of it, they're just like, okay, I don't care about your CD. Stop talking about your CD. Just play music. And remember, this is about being a gig musician. So chances are, if you're in a restaurant or bar or somewhere where they're just paying you to kind of play to the people that are there, and those people are not necessarily your fans, they're your potential fans, but they're just clientele of the place, you need to do your job first. Okay, so this is what you do when you're in the middle of your performance. Okay, I do this at a lot of places where, you know, I'm at restaurants that are quiet. You know, they just want kind of chill music in the background. They basically want me to just be background, right? And then I'll talk about the other versions as well. But they want me to be background music, so it's kind of like, cool, I'm just doing light stuff, whatever. It's not really about selling CDs and that kind of stuff, but you do want to sell your CDs, and you do want to get some extra money in the tip jar. You know, hey, you get paid $250 from a restaurant, you know, to sit there for a couple hours. That's pretty good money. But I'll take extra. I'm not gonna give you back your money. So imagine you're in the background, you're playing your music, whatever, and you notice out of the corner of your eye, or you just happen to be scanning the room, because when you're playing to, when you're playing to the room, look at everybody. So check it out. So you're playing your music and you see that somebody's kind of paying attention or they're singing along. Even if you're supposed to be background, there's nothing wrong with, like, yeah, I see you playing back there. Like, say you're a guitar player, and I started guitar playing, and you're singing or whatever, and you see somebody singing along, be like, I see you singing back there, keep going. And they'll notice, like, oh, because they're the ones singing, so they're gonna, oh, he heard, you know, he saw me, and they'll laugh. You know, you're getting interaction from them. You're getting interaction from the people in the crowd, okay? So as soon as the song's over, be like, you know, hey, thanks for singing along, thanks for appreciating music. Because you like the music, don't forget to come out and show some love up here by the tip jar. You know, nothing intrusive, nothing crazy. And I say this on purpose because some places get complaints. You know, I've had this happen to me back in the day. You know, when I was younger. You know, he's talking about his tip jar too much or whatever, and they tell the manager. It's like, you know, because you're gonna get those annoying people. You're gonna get those people that are just like, yeah, he's talking about his tip jar. Well, if you ain't putting nothing in there, who cares? You know, maybe you're just mad because you're not willing to put. And I keep talking about it. I don't know what it is, but people will actually do that. People will actually complain to the manager. Oh, the person's too loud, or we're trying to talk, or blah blah blah. And it's like, you know what? You're gonna try to control the entire room because you want to sit in there in a corner and whisper. You know, so stupid. But so I don't even care about those people. You know, I do the fake turn down. Like, oh, the manager comes up, hey, could you turn it down a little bit? Okay, and here's the knob, and you just go like you pretend to turn it. You know, because I don't give a crap about the one person that's gonna whine and complain. There's always gonna, you know, I'll get the family who comes in, they see me performing, and they come and sit right here, and then they're the ones that complain that, oh, it's too loud. Well, you're sitting right in front of the speaker. Duh. So who cares about those people? What I want you to focus on is the people that are focusing on you. If somebody's focusing on you, you are focusing on their wallet. This is about being a gigging musician, damn it. This is about making money to pay your bills. Focus on their wallet. You want them, you see they're going to tip the waitress, you're going to tip the bartender, whatever. Why shouldn't they tip you? You're the one that's working just as hard, if not harder, than those waitresses and waiters in there, because you're sitting there playing song after song for hours and hours and hours. I do 4-hour sets without a break. 4. Anybody do that? Then you could talk to me. If you don't do that, don't talk to me. But anyway, 4 non-stop sets. I'm not one of those guys who sit there talk for 25 minutes in between each song so that at the end of the night I did 6 songs. No, I do about 47 songs a night. It's crazy. I don't know if that's an exact number, but it's at least 40-something songs. But anyway, get your tip jar full by the end of the night. You want that tip jar slamming. And the other thing is the more you get people to come up to that tip jar, the more other people will come up to that tip jar because they see other people coming up to that tip jar. You know what I mean? There's always, everybody is like a lemming. You know, they see somebody go up to the tip jar, okay, I'm going to go too. You know, they see somebody buy a CD, oh, I want to buy a CD. What's it? You know, they get greedy. Like, you know, there's a competition factor. When I used to do door-to-door sales, we had these things called the greed factor, the competition factor. The greed factor is if you go and try to sell something, we would go door to door. I was that guy with stuff on his back. We'd go into like a beauty salon and you start trying to sell little knickknacks in your bag to the people that you're going into the office or whatever. You get one person to buy, and all the others, what's they buying? What are they buying? You know, they might not buy, but they're interested because they're greedy. If somebody else has it, they want it. It's like my 2 dogs. If I give the one dog something, the other dog is like looking at me like, well, where's mine? You know, the other dog, the little dog, who is probably stuffed, she ate too much already, she's going to still eat what I give her because she doesn't want the other dog to have it. It's just this greed factor, it's an animal instinct inside everybody. So if they start to interact, focus on them, okay? Now, if you're at a place where it's loud and jumping and, you know, it's a good spot, you're playing loud music or you're playing fun music for people to enjoy themselves, and even if it's still like a restaurant, whatever, and people are singing along, well, you got people singing along, then that's when you really can hammer them. You know, you get song, I mean, and then if you want, it's fun to do some of the, you know, Sweet Caroline. Do songs that get the people to interact. You know, do songs like Sweet Caroline, do songs like, you know, and maybe the songs are played out, but they're still fan favorites. People know them. You know, Margaritaville, you know, where's the, you know, my last shaker is salt. Where's the salt? Where's the gosh darn salt? People say that back, you know, that kind of stuff. They sing that back. Do songs like that if you're feeling like the crowd ain't feeling you, or you're maybe like you're trying to get them to feel you. Do songs that they can interact with. You know, remember, you're there to try to get more fans. You're not there just to work for the owner. You're there to try to get more fans. So every single person that's sitting in front of you is a fan. So make sure you get them to interact. And once they interact, that's when you hit them with the love jar. Hit them with the tip jar. Hit them with, come up with some funny jokes. My buddy Will Donato's like amazing at it. You know, he'll be like, he'll like say, here's the tip jar. I want to stab myself. He'll be like, so here's the tip jar. He'll be like, I'm gonna go. Let me go see what's in the tip jar, and he'll put his face like on the tip jar, and then be like, well, I can kind of see the bottom. We need some more tips in here. You know, he'll joke around about the tip jar to make it funny, to make it interactive, but then it gets people focused on the tip jar. You know, like his buddy Eddie, he plays bass. He'll say, you know. He'll drop something in it, and the bass player will be like, boom. You know what I mean? Like it's hitting the very bottom. You know, jokes like that will keep people coming back to the tip jar. You know, I'll be like, when it's a jumping crowd, I'll be like, hey, throw some love in the tip jar, but this ain't no strip club. I don't want to see no singles in that tip jar. And people go crazy over that. They laugh, you know, and then they start throwing 5s, 10s, 20s. You know, it's a big deal. You know, on average, I make at least $100 in my tip jar. And the bare minimum is like $100 in the tip jar. I've made more than that on smaller crowds. You know, so it's not necessarily the bigger crowds that are going to tip more. It's the smaller crowds too, because they're fully engaged. You know, you got a crowd of only 40 people, everybody's engaged. You know, you got a restaurant that's got 150 people. The people in the back are probably not even going to be focused on you unless you're really killing it. You know, but if they interact, sell. Tell them, hey, You know, I know you guys are having a good time, enjoying my music. Come up and grab a CD. And then another thing, I don't have it. You know, I'll post it. I have this sign right here that I put on in front of my tip jar. I just started doing this, but it really helps because then you don't have to explain your tip jar. You don't have to explain your CD prices. You don't have to, you know, I sell my USB wristbands with my music on them. I don't have to explain the pricing. All that kind of stuff. I'll wear a USB wristband so I can talk about it. Be like, hey, if you guys really like my music and you want to, you know, never have to buy any song from me again in the future, you know, come and pick up my USB wristband. It's $40 now, but it's got 4.5 hours of my music on it, and then everything else I make in the future, I'll send you a digital download absolutely free. That's how I do it with my USB wristbands. If you guys want to copy that, go for it. It's a really great idea. But then make sure you guys, on my next video, I'm going to talk about TextMagic, which is a really cool site, but I use that in my USB wristbands. But I appreciate everybody. Tell me your comments. Tell me what you've had success with. Leave in the comments about what kind of success you've had with your tip jars, with your CD sales, merchandise sales. This goes for anything. You have t-shirts for sale, you have hats. You know, if you have t-shirts and hats, I'd advise you to wear one at your gig if you can. If you're at like a formal place or you're doing like a private event, they probably won't want you wearing your, you know, your Saxman hat or something. But if you're at a restaurant, you know, putting on a Saxman hat, if you're selling them, you know, cool. Like every once in a while, I have a sweatshirt. I've showed it to you guys before in one of my other videos. Actually, I was wearing my piece of cake, chocolate cake sweatshirt in my Ariana Grande cover when I covered Thank You Next. So check that video out. You'll see me. I'm wearing that sweatshirt right there. But you can wear your own merch at your gigs. You know, especially if they're kind of like incognito kind of merch, where if you just say it's just a black shirt with like your cool logo on the front, you know, that's cool. Or like you got a Nights Design, something that fits a kind of a dark room or a classy room or a quiet room, or where you're not supposed to be like putting on a mega show. But that's my video today. I really want to hear from you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you guys like about these videos. Post comments of some videos that you'd like me to talk about. I have a whole list of stuff that I'm going to talk about, but I really would love to hear from you guys. Please comment, like, share, and all that good stuff. Peace!